Hi, Aries. Welcome to your August 2024 tarot reading. Um, this is going to be for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising. Those who are intuitively guided to the reading, thank you for paying attention to your intuition. You could certainly be in love with an Aries, whether platonically, romantically. Just know that your guides know that you're here checking up on them. So you'll probably receive messages yourself. Just be open. I always like starting a reading by by advising you, not telling you, to certainly feel free to ask your guides to send you signs of confirmation through reading, to give you, what do I want to say, more trust that it is for you. Sometimes the whole reading is just going to make complete sense to you, and sometimes it can just be like certain messages. I do have to say that if any of you are connected to a Pisces, you were like a major player in their reading. So you may want to check that out if that's the case. But otherwise, we are having a beautiful rainstorm right now, and I'm hoping that the computer can pick it up, the microphone can pick it up. I love reading when it's raining, to be honest. So, but I am worried I might lose electricity, so I'm going to go ahead and get right into your reading. So we're going to use three different decks. We're going to use Mother Mary for her beautiful words of wisdom. We'll take her at the end of the reading. She's like the cherry on top. We're going to use the Gilded Tarot to clarify or go deeper. Uh, every reading for August has been at least an hour and a half. And listen, I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Some people just do not have the patience for that. And I get it. But if you're looking for a short reading, you know what I would say, what I advise you to do is go watch the last 10 minutes and then see if you want to watch the whole reading, because I feel like the last 10 minutes, at least for me, they always blow my mind. And I've been reading tarot for a long time, and it still blows my mind. I love the synchronicities. Um, and that's definitely something you want to pay attention to. For your main spread, we're going to use the Universal Tarot, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a couple shuffles. Everything is always pre-shuffled. Those who have been with me know that, but those who are new, first of all, welcome. Um, but I really do this for you. So let's go ahead and give them a cut. And, oh, hello. I think we'll just leave them right where they're at. I'm going to bring the lid down a little bit. There we go. But let's go ahead and begin. Let's see what did not want to come up with the rest. Wow. Ace of Pentacles. Beautiful. So the Ace of Pentacles to me means that something is coming into your physical world. It can be money. It can be a person. It can be your way out of something. And I feel like the Ace of Pentacles is like a seed. So it's really up to me if I'm going to nurture this seed, grow this seed, or am I going to ignore it and let it dry up and die? But, it's the Knight of Pentacles who really delivers this pentacle. And the Knight of Pentacles to me is your guardian angel. So I feel like, oh, I don't know what that was. Thunder. Um, so, something's coming into your physical world. And I feel like, use your spiritual discernment to decide if you want to say yay or nay. I don't know why you would say no, but, you know, well, that may be why. Three of Swords. But listen, I feel like the Three of Swords has already happened. That heart has been pierced three times. It can be someone I've been with three separate times, and each time my heart keeps getting broken. So I have to realize that, am I going to give them a fourth chance? This person's like laying on their back, looking right up at the swords. So it's almost like I expect them. But then again, I feel like with the Ace of Pentacles right before it, I'm hoping like this is your way out. I'm looking at the three and a one, which is a four, and I feel like that's the healing over that broken heart. We have the Queen of Pentacles. She always seems to show up in your readings. This can be a Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. She is actually holding that pentacle. Mm. And then we have the Nine of Wands. So, a nine to me is about reflection. It is final reflections. It's not something that I want to, I don't need to reflect on something. Well, I guess you reflect on it until you find the answers that you're seeking. But in the Nine of Wands, I call this person my spirit warrior because they really have looked back, let's just say at least the last chapter of their life. And this is where I'm having understanding over my own life, over my own actions. Sometimes it's, being proud of how you did end a cycle. And listen, maybe for a while you did have that broken heart, but I feel like at the same breath you did have some type of realization. Because this Nine of Wands, again, spirit warrior energy, it's, why do I say spirit warrior? Because I feel like number one, you were bold enough to really reflect upon, at least the last chapter. Sometimes I feel like when we do reflection, we can recognize patterns, like where I'm filling in the Three of Swords. It's like three strikes and you're out. So, and then this Ace of Pentacles. And the Queen's actually holding this ace. Now, this Queen may be you, because I feel like in a reading, where I'm reading for many people, I feel like you're really all people, unless like we feel it otherwise. But we'll see. She's holding that pentacle. It's almost like she's deciding, what do I want to do with this pentacle now? Where do I want to put that pentacle? What effort do I want to put behind it? Judgment. Judgment. That's your spiritual team. You know, your spiritual team is calling you to the present moment. And why? Well, it looks like they're the ones who are delivering this Ace of Pentacles. So it is about, our spiritual team asks us to try to live in the present moment. Definitely reflect back. Really just to know yourself, understand like a situation. Not putting all the blame on yourself, but really knowing yourself at the same time. So, Judgment says, I need you in the present moment. I'm about to deliver this ace to you. And now I know this ace means a rebirth. Because that's what Judgment speaks about. It's a rebirth. To me, that feels very good. Let's keep going. Broken heart be gone with. Those who want to put these swords in my heart, I have no more time for you. I've given you a chance. I've given you more than one chance. Interesting. So that Three of Swords now is replaced by the Three of Cups. Three of Cups is about joy. The feeling of joy. The Three of Cups is about celebration, rejoicing in celebration. It's following your spiritual team, who is literally ushering in this Ace of Pentacles. It is definitely a change of energy. For some of you, this reflection has done you so well. That didn't even sound right. Um, it just feels like it was the perfect energy that was needed. Because again, Judgment is like, okay, now I need your attention back into the present moment. so that this rebirth can take place, so that when this ace comes in, you can recognize it for what it is. It does feel like a blessing because, again, what does it do? It ignites joy within you, change of energy, change of perception. Some of you, it's like, okay, I'm not allowing any more swords in my heart. Done. And this Ace of Pentacles can be, it doesn't have to be one thing. It can be different things. It can be a new way that you make your money. If some of you have been like in a stagnant energy as it relates to your money, this may say that things are going to start turning around. If it's speaking of love, then I feel like I have that realization now that, listen, someone probably hurt me. And it doesn't just have to be one person. But maybe, through this reflection, what I'm realizing is my own vibration. Where's my own vibration been? Have I been pulled down into other people's lower vibration and therefore I keep receiving these swords? Well, I feel like just with that realization alone, that helps lift your vibration. I feel like judgment, your spiritual team, who is saying that this ace is going to bring you joy. To me, it must mean that I'm not going to allow the Three of Swords, previous heartache, to really have any say within my future and my present moment into my future. All right, let's keep going. Number 33. It's interesting because I see 33 all the time in my readings, but for August I haven't seen it very often. But here it is. We have the Five of Wands. Five of Wands is drama, and it's other people's drama, but I can certainly get pulled into that drama. It is a five, so it is asking for change. Some of you, it's literally giving you the way out of that. Because I feel like what you want to consider when you see the Five of Wands is, am I allowing myself to get pulled into other people's drama? Am I waiting and expecting, let's say, an apology from someone, but it never comes? How long am I going to wait? Do I even really need it? Have I lowered my vibration to meet theirs? And I feel like as soon as I have that realization, over, done, not getting pulled in your drama. Again, that Ace of Pentacles feels like the way out. And I'm looking at the 5 and 3 and 8 speaks about a new beginning. We have, well, beautiful, the 8 of Cups. Now, some people wouldn't say this is beautiful because this is really energy of, finding emotional clarity over cups that have been knocked over the Three of Swords. But this person's leaving that energy. An 8, a new beginning. Interesting that I just saw the 8. Well, I added these numbers for some reason, and it brought me to an 8. And now we actually have an 8. I feel like don't regret like the past because you've learned from it. You've grown from it. And for some of you, it's like, you may have been pulled into other people's drama for so long. And I feel like I've had enough of that. This is examining those cups that have been knocked over, but to a point, right? To a point, because some cups were just free will choices And if it speaks, well, it is an emotional energy. And if it speaks to love, not all things work out. Not all people are going to love us the way that we deserve. But that doesn't mean I have to take it. Doesn't mean that I have to call that my life. So the eight, you're doing exactly what judgment is asking you to do. Allow yourself to have this new beginning, this rebirth. It's like a promise of a brand new day, a brand new energy. You're literally walking away from the drama. And where is this person heading in the Eight of Cups? To the Nine of Cups. That's inner harmony. And part of that was the reflection, becoming that spirit warrior. That's saying to yourself, there's nothing I can't get through. Why? Because I've been through it. And if I can get over this, then I can get over this. All right, let's keep going. When I see 33, I feel like there are some people here who may have a life path, a master number 33. And, if you have, let's just say real quick, um, like your life path, you are a master number 33. You want to add those three together. And that usually tells you a little bit. I feel like numerology, your life path number, your personal year number, gives you a lot of clues to like some of the lessons you're here to learn. So when I think of a six, I think of relationships, not just relationships, but relationships. And I suppose you don't have to be a master number 33 for it to also mean that for you. In the two threes, well, to me, well, just like it says, the three, one is heartache, one is joy. I feel like it's about taking control of my life and not letting other people's opinions determine my present day moment, my future moving forward. Your spiritual team is saying that when these aces come in, because you get more than one ace, when they do come in, it's what you're going to do with them. Well, I mean, come on. There's the Nine of Cups. So it literally feels like it is like realization, and then I'm moving on. I love that the Nine of Cups is following the Eight of Cups. Inner harmony. And listen, that would make sense with the energy of joy and what your spiritual team is presenting to you. This is also about fulfillment of wishes. But listen, maybe I needed to do, a little reflection. I needed to really learn about myself. Maybe I needed to understand that I was just easily getting pulled into other people's drama. Didn't feel right. Doesn't sit right with me. So I had to move on from that. And it's not always easy. Change can be difficult. But look at what this change brings. Right off the bat, joy, inner harmony, and a fulfillment of the wish, a wish. And that Ace of Pentacles, it's mirroring. It's like, well, there you go. Some of you could be coming single. But I don't feel like this is anything that, like I'm going to cry over. I feel like quite the opposite. This is really where I'm starting to enjoy my life again. Doesn't mean I have everything, but I have inner harmony. And that's important. So, fulfillment of wishes. And listen, Judgment's trumpet is blowing right down on that Nine of Cups. So it feels like you're meant to have this Ace of Pentacles. Maybe this is just the right time. It's kind of like a reward for the work that you've done. The willingness to go deep, the willingness to look at patterns. If I kept getting pulled into the same type of drama, what am I going to do about that? Sometimes the only thing we can do is leave it. Now, let's say this is like a work situation and I can't leave it. Well, I got to separate myself from it. Look at this. Four of Wands. This is the marriage card. True commitment. You know, I feel like this is true love. So, it's like your spiritual team is saying, yes, you've had your heart broken before, and maybe a few times. And maybe it is due to where my vibration was at, what I was accepting. But I feel like you've had so much spiritual growth, and it feels like very quickly. Maybe I'm simply saying, I've been sticking around, waiting for someone to apologize or to say they were wrong. But I know it's not going to come. Now I know that. But in the long run, I feel like you'll figure out you never really needed it anyway. You know what you know. It's funny, I just sent a post to my daughter where I forget exactly what it said, but it was saying about, um, not arguing with people who won't admit that they're wrong. Just, you know that they're wrong, and that's good enough. But this is really about, I feel like true love, true commitment. And by the way, I feel like everyone in that energy wants to be in that energy. And I do feel like when the Four of Wands shows up, it has the potential of lasting for the rest of your life. Interesting because some of you may have left a relationship and yet you may have the status as single, but I feel like it won't be for long. And then I feel like, well, if I compare this to the Three of Swords, thank God I left it. Thank God I had that realization over it. Bring these up a little bit. Fulfillment of a wish, and then a committed relationship. And listen, it can mean even making true commitments to oneself. But I do feel like this is also talking about a relationship, and I love that you're in that energy of inner harmony first. And that may be a requirement because, again, Judgment, your spiritual team who is ushering in that Ace of Pentacles, I feel like it's just like the right person is put in place for you and you in place for them. It's love, baby. It's love. Hmm. All right, let's keep going. We have the Queen of Swords, almost like you're changing queens. It's like the changing of the guards. And then we have the Nine of Swords. You have three nines so far. That tells me that many of you have been in a state of reflection. But at the same time, I feel like your spiritual team is like, okay, you know enough. You know what I mean? Like, you know enough. The Nine of Swords does talk about a lot of worry. If you just look at it, it's like sleepless nights. but it's worrying about things that I really have no control over. And if it's talking about a person, I can't control them, but I can control myself. The meaning of this card is unnecessary worry. And by the way, it's mirroring the Nine of Cups, but it's also mirroring the Nine of Wands. What have I been worrying about? What have I been trying to control that I simply just can't control? You know, maybe part of it again is some type of drama, other people's drama, waiting for an apology, but then it never comes. But in the long run, you never really needed it because you already know what you know. You don't need someone else to tell you that. Queen of Swords right there um, can be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. But it looks like she's doing like a mic drop. Like she's stating those final words to someone. Like, I gave you a chance, and now I'm done. Mic drop. Got nothing left to say. I can tell you this. This is someone who needs, well, first of all, she doesn't need anyone. But if I'm going to have someone in my life, they better be truthful with me. They better have honesty, integrity. Otherwise, just keep on going. Keep on moving. Some of you, that may be what you're worried about. Like, maybe you dealt with someone who was just untrustworthy, told you lies. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies. All right. I just want to look at this for a second. I find it interesting you have three nines all on the corners, but then the Ace of Pentacles is what opens up this reading. All the nines are good, except for the Nine of Swords. If I've been waiting for someone, maybe I've been waiting, I don't know, maybe you've been waiting for someone to come back. But then again, it's like, if that heart's been pierced three times, I kind of feel like three strikes and you're out. But I feel like it's you saying that. Now, it could be the other way around, don't get me wrong. And I feel like if I'm in this state of worry, then that means I probably haven't done that dive within myself. Looked within my emotional house, understand even my part in it. But again, not with judgment, just learning about oneself. Like, how am I in love? Do I give? Or am I a taker? Do I allow other people just to take, take, take? And it's about finding that balance. I definitely feel like the Four of Wands is talking about someone new. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be like someone brand new. You may already know this person, but I do not feel like it's a person who, um, I don't feel like it has anything to do with the Three of Swords. I feel like that Three of Swords is just what I'm learning from. And then, I'm looking at the Queen of Pentacles right after. It's like, I'm learning that lesson. And then, boom, she's holding that ace. Queen of Swords. Like, maybe this Nine of Swords was. And because it's mirroring the Nine of Cups, maybe you've had that realization, right? I can't control these people in the Five of Wands. I can't make someone love me the way I deserve to be loved. Doesn't mean they didn't love you. There's just different levels of love. All right, let's look at the bottom of the deck. Well, hello, Six of Cups. That's probably why I said to some of you may already know who this person is. And Six of Cups would be someone that you would have happy memories about. Could be someone you knew from your childhood. You know, I love the image here where this little boy is handing this little girl flowers. You know, it's almost before they even understand what true love is, but they still have that feeling. Some of you, I feel like this could be someone like from your hometown. Let's see what's underneath it. Tower. The hangman under that. Maybe I've been waiting for someone. But the tower, you know, the tower happened. The tower usually means an ending to something. Now, it's not on the table. So to me, that means like it's already happened. And I feel like that's what you're overcoming. That's what you've been reflecting upon. But yet, I feel like there's also someone in your heart. You know, it could simply talk about, not simply, but it could talk about like a soulmate type energy with the Four of Wands here. Someone that I used to know. All right, let's bring the Gilded Tarot in and let's just go ahead and go deeper. Let's break it down. You know, it looks like the past was difficult. Now, I'm not talking about your whole life, but I am talking about, you know, a part of your life that does feel like it was difficult. But in the same breath, I feel like that's now meant to be over. You know, sometimes we don't know how good love can be until we really find potentially a soulmate. But let's see. All right, we're going to start at the beginning, but we are going to read it as a whole. All right. Just want to make sure. Oh, look at that, Ten of Pentacles. I just wanted to make sure my deck was in the upright, and I glanced at the Ten of Pentacles. Look at this. The Hangman. But he's in the awakened state. I mean, you want to talk about someone who can take that Ace of Pentacles and really create the life of their dreams. Hangman has the awareness now. You know, here, I'm really seeking wisdom on my next steps. Here, you now have it. You just have to trust it. You know, perfect energy with judgment right below it, but coming right over the Ace of Pentacles. Now I feel like you're going to take that ace and you're going to create, you know, who knows what. It just feel, well, joy, harmony, fulfillment of a wish. And I feel like you had a big part to do with that because you were able to, well, because you did look back. You're just learning who you are. How am I in love? How am I with other people? Have I lowered my vibration to meet another's? And if that's the case, I'm tired of it. Now I feel like that's no longer the case. I know not all of you are at this, let's just say this place yet, but it's telling me you're on your way. And, you know, I felt like there's no way I could have this spiritual awareness without first reflecting upon myself. Another way of saying that is we want to remember that we are spiritual beings having human experiences. Spiritual beings having human experiences. You know, the Ace of Pentacles is meant to enhance your life. Well, that's what I feel like a soul's quest is. How can I enhance my life? The power you have on your own. You know, it's like when I realized that I've just been living in someone else's life, you know, doing things their way. And now I know. Now I know with the hangman in the awakened state. And by the way, he's also marrying the Nine of Cups. It just feels good. Like now I have no worry that you're going to take that ace and you're going to create probably many different things with it. That's kind of beautiful. All right. Ace of Cups over the Three of Swords. Now, you know, the hangman next to in the awakened state, I feel like one of the things you're learning are that are different levels to love. You know, I feel like a true love won't want to lose us, and we won't want to lose them. I feel like a true love wouldn't put three swords in my heart over and over and over again. I feel like it definitely is speaking of love, but this can also be a love for oneself. But it is mirroring the Four of Wands, a true commitment. Hello, Ace of Cups. We have the Page of Pentacles. Interesting, the page is coming over the Queen of Pentacles. So for some of you, again, because we have the Six of Cups here, that can talk about someone that you already know. Someone that, you know, some of you could have gone to school with this person. Um, Page of Pentacles really is about a learning experience. Like I've been learning through these different experiences in my life. But the main thing I'm learning is about me. I've been learning about love and my own worth. Hmm. All right. Well, hello, Ten of Cups. Wow. House of Love, House of Harmony. Over that Nine of Wands, it's almost like you're asking yourself, not really even asking yourself, you're telling yourself that for me to really have this Ten of Cups, because you're not alone in that energy, even though it's coming over a nine. So, whatever reflection again was done, it is truly giving you some type of spiritual awareness. And I feel like, you know, some of you, I do feel like you must have reflected upon love. And maybe simply looking at that as it really has taught me more than I even realized. The House of Harmony, House of True Love, Laughter, Joy. Some of you, that's what you're saying to yourself. That's what I'm seeking. No more lower vibrational energy, but I also know that I have to lift my own vibration, right? Because I feel like judgment is proud of the work that you have done. And this almost feels like divine timing. We have the moon. Well, there's a card Pisces. So again, some of you I know are tied to a Pisces. And if that's the case, I would definitely check out their reading because You were the major player in their reading. The moon can talk about uncertainties, but because it's coming over judgment, listen, judgment may say to you, one day at a time, one day at a time. Enjoy these new blessings, these new opportunities, the potential of a new love. It does speak about dreamy energy and allowing yourself to dream. And then we have the Five of Cups. Five of Cups. So the person in the Five of Cups is really focusing on, the cups that have been knocked over. It can certainly talk about missing someone's energy, missing someone. So the question I would ask you is this person, let's just say, of a higher vibration or of a lower vibration? Some of you may be manifesting a love into your life and not even know it. This does speak about change because the Five of Cups, if I'm in it too long, it can turn into the woe is me type energy, crying over spilt milk. But when this person's like, I've had enough of that, done, what do they find? What's behind them? Two cups. Well, that's a soulmate. Not that even the person in the Three Swords wasn't a soulmate, because maybe it was a karmic relationship, and I've truly learned from that energy. And sometimes what I'm learning is simply what I no longer want, the energy I'm no longer willing to live in. But then that means I need to raise my own vibration. But I feel like with reflection, because let's not forget, the person in the Nine of Wands really is my spirit warrior. They're understanding like how much their spirituality has grown. And when your vibration lifts, those of a lower vibration just kind of naturally want to fade away. Our humanness is what pulls it back in again. Coming over the Three of Cups. So I feel like whatever sadness exists, it's about to come to an end. Do I have to allow it? Yes. It may just simply mean don't keep your focus on the cups that have been knocked over. Learn from them, understand them, know your part in them. And again, not putting blame on you, but I do want to know myself in love. This may be getting you ready. Some of you could have been living in that Three of Swords energy, yet there's been someone else that's been on your mind. I often feel like when I see the the Five of Cups and the Six of Cups, I feel like subconsciously and maybe even consciously, there's someone else that maybe I would like to manifest back in my life. You know, Judgment bringing in that Ace of Pentacles. It's like the opportunity, but I have to nurture that ace, right? It is through my own energy that it grows and blossoms. If I keep staying stuck in the past, now, when I say the past, I mean two different things here because I feel like this is talking about, let's just say at least one person. It could be multiple people that just seem to break your heart. But it could have been also because, like, I think about when I was young and the relationships I've been in. I mean, they weren't great. But I also realized that my own vibration wasn't that great at the time. I feel like we have to learn how to love. Like, we can easily fall in love, but then we have to learn how to love. And, it doesn't even have to be hard. It just means I want to focus upon that love. right? I want to give that love my attention. Words of endearment make them feel good, and vice versa. Okay, let's keep going. The Hermit, Heart of Virgo. I feel like Virgo shows up in your reading often also. But this is really about reflection. And sometimes you'll see the hermit like going into a cave. And to me, that's like the dark night of the soul. That really is where I'm asking like real spiritual questions. What am I here for? What is my purpose? Why am I going through all this? And I feel like you find that clarity. You know, this hermit is emerging from the cave with its beacon of light. And to me, that's a sense of comfort, a sense of wisdom. Some of you could be old souls. You know, it's interesting how I already feel like soulmate energy, even though we don't have the soulmates on the table yet. And, you know, another thing I love about the hermit is his light or hers is illuminating this snake. And to me, that's a sense of comfort. Like, if anybody comes towards me in this snake like energy, wants to bite me, I'm going to see it before it reaches me. Right. But I also feel like some of you, it can talk about like spiritually based businesses, but it comes because of your experience. It's like, how can I help another if I've never walked through their shoes? It's not that you can't, but if I've been there, done that, then I have more clarity to help another so they don't have to go through it. It's coming over that Five of Wands. It's coming under the Page and the Queen of Pentacles. So some of you can literally meet a Virgo. But with the Hangman in the awakened state, I feel like the Hermit has found those answers that the Hermit was seeking. You know, I feel like the one thing the Hermit figures out is I don't need someone else to come in and save my life. I can save my own life. And it may have taken me time to realize that. You know, when the Hermit's seeking the light, really what the Hermit figures out is I am the light. I am the light. And now, naturally, I help shine that light upon others. You know, if you're looking for your purpose, that's what it is. Our purpose is to help others, you know, in any form. Sometimes it's as simple, you're listening to someone's story and it's as simple like, I understand. And sometimes it just means like, you know, you're actively listening to others. But then for some of you, providing like real solutions. Why? Because you yourself have become awakened. Okay. And the Hermit's beacon of light is illuminating that Eight of Cups, the Five of Pentacles. You know, the Five of Pentacles is probably this tower's energy. Interesting. I just realized, look at this. The Hangman is underneath the tower, but not in the awakened state. Still seeking wisdom. Over what? Over these towers. Over a tower. But I feel like, you know, I feel like this is really spirit helping us. I often feel like when a tower comes in, even though in the Five of Pentacles, I may not have asked for that tower, It can be something that was beyond my control. Someone else may have gave me a tower. But I feel like in the long run, and I feel this often, in the long run, we look back and we're thankful. Like without that tower, it's interesting because I named Pisces reading, and I'm sorry to keep bringing up Pisces, but if their reading reminded me of a Chicago song, and the song talked about, if she hadn't have cheated, then I never would have found you. If she or he never had cheated, which in other words means it forced an ending, well, then I never would have found probably my true love. So the Five of Pentacles often is something outside of our control. I don't feel like in the Five of Pentacles we have the luxury of like for long of like, doing nothing. We have to keep on moving. But I often feel in the Five of Pentacles where you're moving towards is soulmate energy. And I don't mean just love. I mean soulmates that are going to help you in many different ways. And you them. For a lot of you, I feel like you are old souls. And there really is nothing you cannot overcome. I say that from experience. I do. I say that from experience. The Five of Pentacles is mirroring the moon. So, I may not have the luxury of knowing exactly what's coming next. More reason to put trust within my spiritual team because they do. And then if you remember again that we're spiritual beings, then our soul came into this lifetime to have these experiences, to seek adventure, not to get stuck, right? Like it's normal to get stuck for a little while, but in a way we're kind of giving away our power, like the blessings that were meant for us. And it's like your spiritual team may have like, I feel like they're saying like we had to make you feel a little uncomfortable to get you to make this move so that we can usher in not now just the Ace of Pentacles, but also the Ace of Cups. Because again, that Ace of Cups is mirroring the Four of Wands, the commitment card, love. You have a few fives, so a few changes going on. You have nines, reflection, but really just so you can understand. You have your spiritual team who is very proactive in your reading. And I feel like they're saying like we want to help you find this inner harmony within yourself. Like stop blaming yourself for things that have gone wrong. Yes, sometimes it could be your fault. You know, that's just life. But maybe you just didn't know better. It reminds me of something like Oprah said, you know, you do better when you know better. That's not how she said it though. All right, let's keep going. And I'm focusing right now on this Nine of Swords, and what's coming to my mind is that many times we can tell ourselves, maybe I thought I deserved to have my heart broken. But we don't want to believe every thought that moves through our head because we can lie to ourselves. There is the tower. coming right under your spiritual team. But instead of saying, damn you, Tower, I feel like now you're saying, thank God. Thank God. Because you do, because you are in a state of awareness. Even if you're just starting to have that awareness. It's over the Nine of Cups. So I feel like it's not affecting you in a negative way. It's affecting you in a positive way. Like literally, some people may have been cut out of your life, um, but because it needed to happen. Because they kept you in a lower vibrational energy. And if I'm worried, like, what steps do I take next? That's why you want to trust your spiritual team. Even if I go step by step by step. I feel like there's nothing here that's saying that anything has to be rushed. I feel like it is saying, though, if you look back, there was a lot of valuable lessons that were there for your soul to learn. And I feel like you're learning them. Some of you already have. And some of you are just beginning. And if that's the case, this is kind of giving you like a little bit of a roadmap. Well, hello, next chapter. The world. Following the tower. So that takes a sting out of the tower for sure. And the world is, I feel, the most spiritual time in your life. Well, you are in a state of awareness. And that's what's ushering in these pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. And literally, this Ace of Cups now is mirroring the world, which is coming over the marriage card, commitment card. Two people making that commitment. Goodbye, the sting of the tower. It may have held me back for a moment, but at this point, no longer. Judgment is saying that we want to help usher in a rebirth in your life, and the world is the next chapter. It means that you're ready for this chapter. I don't feel like the world shows unless you're ready. So I feel like reflection, like I've done enough, I've learned enough, right? I have enough wisdom now to put trust back, let's just say within myself, but also in your spiritual team. This tower, even though it stings, it's really what ushers in inner harmony for you. And then the next chapter opens. Aries, what a reading. Well, hello, healing. Over this Queen of Swords, where I do feel like she's given that mic drop, stating my final words, and I'm out of there. It lets you know that it's healing that broken heart. It's an opportunity to heal. But I feel like it's also healing the thoughts. Those negative thoughts that find their way into our head. And then, hello, beautiful Knight of Pentacles. I talked about the Knight of Pentacles as soon as I saw the Ace of Pentacles. Well, this is the Knight that brings it in. And this Knight, its lesson is about patience. But sometimes the patience, like they're waiting on us. Knight of Pentacles is a reminder that I come at the right time, not before, not after, but it's coming over the Nine of Swords. So to me, that feels like the wrong time to come in, but it doesn't mean I won't come in. It's like once I overcome, again, the Nine of Swords talks about unnecessary worry, but it also speaks about the things that I cannot control. Hand it over, let it go. And then this knight shows up in the right time, in divine timing, healing. And then the knight shows up. That means I'm not allowing the Three of Swords, what was, to really have any say so in what the rest of my life is going to look like. Interesting because the Knight of Pentacles is also mirroring the Tower. And that's why I tell you, like, don't, like, when you watch a tarot reading, some people would just be like, oh, Tower, something bad's going to happen. I don't feel that. I feel like the Tower means, yes, there is change. And yes, it can feel uncomfortable during that period. But if we look at it in a different way, like, okay, that means that something new is being ushered in. That means that I have new opportunities that are about to show. Literally, the world is talking about that next chapter and healing. And then the Knight of Pentacles is saying, now, this is the perfect time. By the way, the Knight of Pentacles is also mirroring the Ten of Cups. Maybe I thought I could have that Ten of Cups with someone else, but they just weren't playing my game. They just kept hurting me. And it can be one person who's hurt you multiple times. But I feel like, I've learned from that. If I'm trying to change them, I feel like when we find like true love, there's nothing we need to change about them. Like if someone says to you, yeah, I love you, but you need to change this and change that and be this way and be the way I want you to be. Well, then is that real love? Because I feel like your real love will love you for exactly who you are. Healing. Some of you, it's like literally you're finding your voice again. I feel like some of you may be saying, you know, where is my self integrity? Why was that not important? It was important, but maybe someone stole it from you, so to speak. Don't be afraid of changes, especially in this reading, because everywhere it talks about a change, something beautiful happens. That Ten of Cups mirroring the Hangman in the awakened state. Wow, that means I'm ready for love. Real love. And, I feel like some of you, when I think of Aries, I think of the seed planter, right? Like you usher in the spring. And that's when we start to plant our seeds so that we can have a bountiful harvest. If I plant no seeds, I'll have no harvest. Some of you are literally, it feels like starting I'm saying a spiritually based business, but I feel like it's like I've been through this pain and hurt, and now I'm helping others. That's purpose. God doesn't look at like our achievements and be like, oh, well, you didn't become the business owner or you didn't become a manager or, so, Shame on you. No. God's looking to see how you care about your fellow man. Do you reach out and help when you can? That's the purpose. Our purpose is to understand that we are spiritual beings and we're here really to learn and grow. And sometimes that comes through difficult lessons. But I feel like that just means that you have a very strong soul, you know? Because I feel like some of the seeds that we plant before we came into this lifetime. And it is an adventure to see like how much we can evolve. Mm. All right. I almost feel like there's nothing I need to clarify. But having said that, I feel like, because I really don't feel like there's anything I need to clarify. So, what I'm just going to do is ask for any messages that maybe I've missed that haven't come out yet. I'm going to take it right across the middle. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are reconnecting with someone again of, let's just say, of your younger years. But I don't feel that they caused the Three Swords. Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands to me, what I think about, I bring about. What I think about, I bring about. Another way of saying that is I've got to think about what type of vibration I'm putting out into the universe because that's what I'm going to be met with. If I expect another sword to happen, well, then I'll be damned, another sword happens. But when I have this realization, when I have this spiritual awakening, now I know that I'm just going to put good intentions out there. And I promise you, they will come back to you. Let go of control of exactly what, who, what it looks like, and just trust in divine. This can be very fast moving energy. We have the Ten of Wands. And then we have the beautiful Empress. It's like your counterpart. So I feel like, you know, first of all, the Empress is someone who has also been through it. She's like the mothering figure. And because we do have not just your spiritual team, but also a guardian angel on the board, some of you, I feel like this is like a mother figure who is a very special part of your team, your spiritual team. Means they've already crossed over, but they're not out of your life. Oh no. They're definitely helping usher, they're helping to usher in what really feels quite beautiful. It's like the realization in the Ten of Wands of something just becoming too much. Do I have a tendency to put the weight of the world on my shoulders? Do I have a tendency to put the weight of a relationship on my shoulders? Because in the Ten of Wands, it's like all landing on me. I do feel like with the Eight of Wands right before that Ten of Wands, again, it's like subconsciously wanting your spiritual team to move you, and they do. The Empress is a reminder to keep your heart open, to stay loving and nurturing. But the Empress is also very powerful, very strong. Like I could see her being also the Queen of Swords, like that mic drop. She is of a higher vibration and she doesn't allow lower vibration. It's not that she won't reach out and try to help someone, to raise their vibration, but she knows who to help and who not to help. Our tendency when we go through these difficult situations is to close down our heart. And, on a human level, it makes sense. But on a spiritual level, it doesn't. Because again, it's like truly there's nothing you can overcome. You just have to know that. Think about what you're putting out into the universe. Think of the law of attraction. Stay open. And I kind of love the Page of Pentacles above her because, again, my lifetime is about learning, who I am, what it is I can bring to the world, what type of love I want in my life, knowing what I deserve, but being proactive in, it doesn't even mean I have to be proactive in looking for love. I just feel like it'll naturally find you. She is your counterpart. Now, I do feel like the majority of you are the Empress, but I also feel that this is also like mothering energy that's helping to usher in probably this Ace of Cups. Like, who knows better, right? Now, let's say you didn't have a good relationship with your mom in this lifetime. Well, if she's crossed over, then whatever human issues that she may have suffered from, they're gone. She's in pure love now. Okay. I really don't feel like I want to end it right there. Something's telling me to keep going, so I'm going to keep going. Well, there's that Ten of Pentacles. It made its way out. Hello, House of Abundance. That's why I felt like this Ace of Pentacles might be a few different things. Some of you, what beautiful energy. Yeah, especially if you're working from home. Like, can I create true abundance for myself? Yes. Yes. Not now. Yes. I do have to focus upon it. I feel like the Ten of Pentacles talks about energy that really takes root. It can certainly talk about like family businesses. And then, maybe now you're taking it over. But I often feel like this is energy that lives beyond us. Let's say this is talking about a love story. I feel like that means like that our children and our great grandchildren, our love story will continue to be told even after we're gone. It's like let's just say like a grandchild measuring love up to like how my grandmother loved her love story. Now, I know that's not for everyone, but abundance is. Hello, magician, the manifester. First of all, look at the 8. This is the number of infinity. As above, so below. No beginning, no end. Magician teaches you that you possess everything you need to be successful on your next journey. Often when I see the magician, I feel like you are starting on a new path. The magician is the fool's greatest mentor. It's the first person the fool meets, and I feel like we are the fool anytime we're starting anything new. It is about taking a leap of faith. But that's what the magician teaches the fool. Like, don't be fearful. Take a chance. You can always change course if you want to. I can't help but notice that pentacle right there. But this is also about your ability to manifest. You know, and I feel like, and first of all, it's coming after the Ten of Pentacles. Hello. You know, it's interesting because I feel like for some of you, you've been dealing with like a lot of drama at your workplace and you may decide enough is enough. And then, like, you already possess the wisdom. You don't have to know everything, but to do your own thing, to create your own business, or even just change jobs, but then finding the right job. But I also feel like this is talking about love. You know, the magician says that you do have to put those intentions out there. But when you do, it's like the ability that you have to manifest. Sometimes we give that up. We stop believing in ourselves, right? But then the Empress is saying, listen, you've just been learning. You've been learning. You've been evolving. And yeah, part of life is going through some difficult lessons. But when we learn them, you know, really it's just learning who I am and, you know, not giving up on myself. I don't care what anybody else says. Like, if I believe in myself, well, then the world is my oyster. If I don't believe in myself, then I'm going to have a very hard time manifesting really the life that I want. I got to think about my intentions. You know, I feel like that's 9/10 of the law. I don't even, you know, it's like even in the Ace of Cups, I don't even have to even know who it's going to be, but I know what type of love I now want. The Ace of Pentacles truly meant to enhance your life. And then the Hangman in the awakened state, true awareness. You know, and then you have the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. Wow. All right, one more time around. Anything else want to come out? Come out now. All right, let's take them as they came out. First of all, look at this. The Five of Wands now in reverse. It's like you are literally saying, no more drama. You know, again, if I was waiting for someone to apologize, I don't even need it now. I never really did, but now I know that I don't need it. I love that this just came in reverse. And then we have the King of Swords, very close to the Queen of Swords. What's the Queen of Swords looking for? Someone of integrity, someone who can be very truthful. You know, I feel like both the Queen and the King of Swords, they can't live in lies. Now, if he was reversed, it'd be the opposite, but he's not. Now, I know you're fire, but I also feel like, you know, it doesn't really matter in this reading. In any of my readings, you know, I'll give you the signs, but other than that, I kind of want you to forget them and I want you to think about their energy. We have the Knight of Cups. Interesting, he's coming in reverse. But this is about an unexpected couple fulfillment. It's in reverse. Doesn't mean it's not coming in. But maybe because the Knight of Pentacles is right there, who comes in at the right time. You know, and it is coming over the Four of Swords. So, like, healing oneself. Like, doctor, heal thyself. King of Cups. And then the Six of Wands. That's victorious energy. You know, this means for like what I'm feeling is for some of you, this is about like you now taking the stage. You now have the spotlight. And it is about other people admiring you for your action steps, the steps that you have taken. How did you reach this victorious energy, Aries? Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you. King of Cups right before that can be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. But I do have to say, I feel like this is someone who really loves love, loves having that special partner. If he was in reverse, another, I would say run. But he's not. Now, he's coming so close to that Knight of Cups, unexpected couple fulfillment. For some of you, it could certainly mean that you already know. You already know that love is coming. You're allowing yourself to feel it. And maybe it's saying that it's not really that unexpected. Like at this point, I just expect it. Maybe that's the intentions I'm putting out there. And the Knight is like, yep, I'll be in. I'll be in. For some of you, I could certainly had wished and hoped, like most of us have been through and have done, someone would love me in a way that I wanted to be loved. But for whatever reason, they didn't. I'm not saying they didn't love you, but hurting you, I don't know. It just kind of feels like it came natural to them. And it makes sense that you would be saying, if I'm going to fall in love again, then this person needs to be someone who's very truthful, very honest with me, has integrity, someone who does want to be in love, does want to make a commitment. And again, it doesn't mean that we move right into that energy, though you do have fast moving energy. The Knight of Pentacles, where's it at? Right here. Knight of Pentacles now has a Six of Wands over it. I mean, it literally feels to me like you're taking your experiences, especially your difficult experiences, but those that you are overcoming, or for some of you have already overcome, and you're helping others. And it could just be simply through your own energy, because I feel like at this point, if I was in a lower vibration, because I have this spiritual awareness, because my spiritual team is calling me to the present moment, because they're telling me there's about to be a rebirth, and it may just be the right time. The world, the next chapter, it's opening, and it's mirroring that Ace of Cups. And not just that, but when I look at the Ten of Pentacles, I also think about loyalty. And I feel like that's a definite requirement. If I'm going to give my heart to someone, then I want to make sure they're going to be loyal. And maybe you do need to take it slow. I've been feeling that a lot lately too, like take it slow, step by step by step. And I feel like you won't be able to help but fall in love. Again, the Ace of Cups is also mirroring that Four of Wands, where you are making a true commitment with someone, and the Ten of Pentacles coming over that. Well, the House of Loyalty, the House of Abundance. I feel like if you're falling in love with someone in that energy, well, then there's someone who has their shit together. This isn't someone who would have their hands out like, give me money, take care of me. No, they're able to take care of themselves. And you are able to take care of yourself. And what a perfect blend. You know, to me, this is real life. Like, yes, many of us have gone through, you know, hardships and heartache and drama filled people, people who lied, people who just couldn't love us the way that we deserved. But then we figure out, you know, through our reflection that we really do deserve the highest form of love. But we also understand that we've got to be in that energy, right? What I think about, I bring about. So I want to think about what kind of vibration am I sending out into the universe? Because it's going to be answered, But then I feel like, and then let go of control and just let the universe surprise you. I feel like this is about some of you spending the rest of your lives with this person. But I am also not going to leave your money off the table because I feel like many of you are evolving in that area too. Like you're becoming much more spiritual beings and you're using that in your everyday life. Wow, wow, wow. Look at the bottom of this deck. Four of Wands, mirroring energy. So if you had any doubt that what is coming your way, if you allow it, it's the synchronicities of two people who are both going to give themselves to the other. But I feel like for the rest of their lives. It doesn't promise that this house won't have few arguments, that type of thing. Like we have to be real with ourselves. But this is about nobody's running out the door. Like we're going to work it out together. All right, let's take Mother Mary over this reading. This is at the point in a reading where I start thinking about the title. Because let me tell you, as a tarot reader, it's difficult to come up with a title that is really going to be able to explain all the beauty in this reading, especially if you're still like up here. This reading is your roadmap. Like, don't ignore what it's asking you to do. Reflecting, understanding how you yourself have grown. Who am I giving my energy to? Who deserves my energy? What energy am I putting out into the universe? Am I paying attention to my spiritual team signs? Some of you, I know this reading is your sign. That's often why I feel like sometimes you're pulled into a reading where you may not even know if you have, like, let's say Aries in your chart, but something pulled you to it. Well, that's your spirit guides. They're going to get the signs to you one way or another. Even if you ignore them, they're going to send them again. And sometimes that's what the tower is. It's us ignoring those red flags, you know. But it's like your spiritual team is saying, but, part of your soul's agreement, part of what your soul wanted to manifest, lessons, yes. Awareness, spiritual awareness, yes. But also great love. But maybe I can't understand how great this love could be if I didn't understand a lower form of love. Some of you, I feel like you're coming into your natural healing abilities and you're putting them in the forefront. You have caring. Heaven cares for me, and I keep my heart open to caring about myself others, and the world. Well, I feel like the Empress would talk about yourself, others, definitely in that Four of Wands energy with the Ten of Pentacles, all that energy, the Ace of Cups, and the world, where you literally have the World card. But I feel like that's part of our purpose, is to put loving energy out into the world, not hate. See if anything else wants to come out. I just knew it. I just knew it. Health. Well, Nine of Swords could certainly be an energy where, because the Nine of Swords, all that worry, if it's not dealt with, if I don't like reflect, if like, what do I want to say? Like I feel in the Nine of Swords, I'm trying to control something, but it's against my control. Maybe I want someone to love me, but it's just not worth. They're just not loving me, and I need to find a way to let that go. Because I feel like in the Nine of Swords, if I don't, it is going to affect my health, whether it be sleepless nights, anxiety, high blood pressure, whatever it may be. So I have a feeling that's why health is out, but let's read it. My prayers for healing miracles have been heard and answered. There they are. There it is. And last but not least, wow, forgiveness. One of the hardest things to do. It really is. But I have to tell you, I mean, I have been in some pretty difficult situations, and I had to learn to forgive. And it's not that I picked up the phone and called someone and said, "Hey, I forgive you." I let it go. I no longer wanted to carry the weight on my shoulders. Forgiveness. I feel like that's part of a soul's quest. I am willing to release old resentments so that I may enjoy my life. Caring, health, and forgiveness. Dun dun. Aries. You probably know what I'm going to say, but what a reading. What a reading. What a roadmap. But I feel like it was so clear. Now, I know for everyone, it may not be that clear. And it may be because you're in different stages within the reading. Sometimes I do feel like you need to watch a reading more than once. And I don't mean back to back. I know the readings are long. But as things start to evolve in your life, something may like pull you back to this reading. Don't deny that, because you may hear these messages, well, through your spiritual ears versus your human ears. I loved it. You know, I know life can be difficult, but I also know that, you know, jumping into the fool's energy, taking chances in our lives, being willing to allow new beginnings to happen, even if sometimes we didn't ask for it. Understand that chances are there's a blessing that's waiting. And my prayer for you is that these blessings in this spiritual awakening find you and you find it. I love you guys. I thank you as always. I do want to welcome anyone who is new. We've been having a lot of new people finding the readings. I feel like that's your spiritual team. So I thank your spiritual team, but I also want to welcome you to our soul family. When I do a reading, in my mind's eye, you're all sitting around me. You're all in the room with me. And whenever you find it, I feel like these type of readings will find you in divine timing. Like the Knight of Pentacles says, in the right time. In the right time. I love you. Thank you. And I'll see you next time at our table. Bye-bye.